So what is a real estate fund? Now, before I go any farther, a fund can actually do way more than just real estate. You can do all kinds of things with funds. We're going to talk about real estate though. So on a real estate fund, it's a pooled investment where multiple investors contribute money into one managed fund and buys and operates several real estate assets instead of a single investment property. The investors own shares because it's a company of the entire portfolio, and their returns from the fund are collective performance. So instead of buying shares of an actual property, they're only buying shares of the company. And then the company goes out and invests into multiple properties. So one fund, many investments, investors buy into the fund, not a single property, and capital is raised once and then used repeatedly. There's one caveat to this. All my 506c funds are structured as a closed-ended fund, means I have 1 year to raise capital. You can do an evergreen fund, means I can raise capital continuously. The biggest problem with that is investors can come and go. It makes it a little harder. So if you think about that, when we got the loan, if I have investors that have invested with me, it's not so easy for me to switch them in and out of deals because that could trigger a sale or a refinance. So I don't use evergreen funds. I haven't yet, may in the future. When you raise capital, you can only raise it one time, 1 year. Some people have asked me, can you do capital calls inside of a fund? It's not likely. Once you've raised, you've already hit your maximum, you're done. So the entity structure, this is the biggest difference. Most all your syndications, good ones, are done either, which I will now accept Tennessee. Tennessee is a good place to do a syndication. But I've always done, if it's a syndication, it's been done in Delaware, and that's the only one I need. And then we also use a fund management agreement. That's done in Wyoming. So any one of my funds will always be a Delaware entity managed in Wyoming because it gives me the best taxation. It's complete pass-through. Because mostly it gives me separation and protection. Ultimately, I want to protect my investors. The advantage of a fund is, of course, syndication is one asset, fund is multiple assets, and a syndication is one market, and a fund is multiple markets. That's the biggest difference, in multiple markets. So I don't have to invest in just Tennessee. I can invest in multiple states. The power is disclosed. What's the number one thing they say in real estate? Location, location. What do you say in a fund or any syndication? It's disclosed, disclosed, disclosed. I have investors and people that ask me all the time, we coach on this, we teach people how to do this, and everybody always asks, what can I do inside a fund? What can I do inside a syndication? Essentially anything you want is the truth of the matter. As long as it's disclosed, it has to be disclosed. You have to clearly, the asset type, the geographical strategy, transparency builds trust, and it's compliance. It all comes down to that. If you're going to be compliant, you can't structure a fund that's more multifamily and go out and buy office space. Vice versa, if it's for office space, you can't go out and buy your multifamily properties. I've seen people that's done it. There is one thing, and if anybody wants to build a fund in this room, make sure that you put in your documents that the fund manager has the discretion to invest or explore other asset types as long as it's approved by the investors. What it means is if I find a great deal that Steve has for sale and I do a multifamily fund and he's got a self-storage facility, but it fits the return metrics of my fund, I could email all my investors and say, hey, this fits the exact metrics of my fund. The exit timeline, the return structure, we're going to go buy this deal. Everybody have okay with that? I can go do that. I just make an amendment to the fund.